All right, I think we're pretty close. Just give it a couple of seconds. Make sure that we're good to go. We should be pretty good to go, I'd say. Yes, let's do that. Let's turn that puppy off. Let's turn this puppy off, and let's press this one here, which says we're live. And hey guys, welcome. Steve Salvia here, really excited to be sharing this session with you. Really pumped for our quick win session today. Been working on this for a little while, and I've shared this a couple of times with my clients, and really excited to share it with you today as well. Look, today what I want to talk about is, I want to talk about your business flow, kind of the rate at which sort of things get done in your business. JD's telling me, yeah, okay, good. Just let me know, JD, if we're good to go. Make sure everything's up and running, and we're doing this live on Restream, so hopefully the tech is working for you. But today I want to talk about your business flow, basically the rate at which things get done in your business, kind of, you know, how things get from the top end, in the front end of the funnel of your business, and coming through the system, and how they sort of flow out the back end of your business as well. So there's a certain flow that needs to happen, a certain cadence, and we want to make sure it's the right sort of cadence for you. And that's why we call this session the Teflon Planner. I might even let's just share this screen. Might share that one there. Right, so team, yeah, today is all about really what happens, guys, is if you're not really careful, if you're not really focused on exactly what happens inside your business and how things work, and if you're also too focused on sort of the front end of your business, you're focused on your marketing and your client attraction or your prospect attraction, and you're converting those prospects into clients, you know, getting work from your reviews or uncovering new opportunity from reviews. Maybe if you're so focused on maybe referrals, I reckon if you spend too much time getting good at the sort of the front end of your business, and you don't put any effort into the sort of the back end part of it, really all it does, guys, it just speeds up the time, speeds up the rate that people find out that you're potentially not as good as you said you were. See, what happens is people commit, they engage with you, they expect a long-term relationship with you, they expect you to keep your promises and do what you say you were going to do. But a lot of the time, what happens is too many financial planners, and you know, you may have had this situation in your business at some point. Too many financial planners kind of they sort of let their clients down, and we just don't fulfill the promises that we make, you know, because, you know, all the hard work's been done. You've got the client in, and you've done all that pre-work, all the onboarding work, and everything like that. But not too long after, they find out that it's just not as great as what they thought it would be, and then they all of a sudden they start to look for other options. And, you know, the first shiny object that comes in front of them, they'll sort of investigate that as an option, and then you end up losing clients. Right, so you know, we make all the promises in the world, but we're just not keeping enough of them a lot of the time, and often it's because of you, like the financial planner, right? That's right. I know it's harsh, and I know I don't mean to be rude, and I'm not trying to be nasty to you or anything like that. But what happens is, you as the financial planner, you're normally the bottleneck. You're normally the brick wall or the barrier that's getting things done. You know, you're the thing that's stopping your business from running smoothly and running the way it should be inside your financial planning business, because, you know, everything kind of lands on your desk, and it's not smooth and there's no flow, right? So what I really want to do today is I want to kind of get this back end sorted, and I don't mean what products you're going to use or what providers you're going to work with and stuff like that, or what you're going to sell basically. What I mean is, how can we get your business nailed to a point where it becomes what I call Teflon, right? Teflon. Teflon is like, I think of Teflon as kind of, you know, non-stick, you know, no crack sticks to me. Everything just kind of smooth. Everything's flows, and everything just works when it's around me. Okay, so that's kind of how I picture Teflon, and hopefully you'll do the same sort of thing, guys. Just so you know, there is a worksheet for today's session. Really detailed worksheet. This one, I spent a fair bit of time on this. There's some overarching concepts in there, and there's also some really good worksheets as well. So if you'd like a copy of the worksheet, just type in the word worksheet wherever you're watching this. If you're watching this on my live stream, you can type in the word Teflon and we'll drop you a link in there. I think my webinar wingman JD's in there with me. We might drop a link into the comment section. Just type in the word worksheets and we'll fire out a copy for you. You may be watching this in the replay, so just type in the word worksheets and we'll get that out to you. We're also going to have if you're watching this on my website, there's a button underneath. You can just click the button, you can download it straight away. If you haven't got access to the download or there's no printer nearby, that's all good. No dramas at all. Just type the word worksheets in and we'll get it out to you. But just make sure you grab some paper and a few pens and to draw with, and draw along with me, and then you can sort of transfer the notes in there later. Okay, you'll be absolutely golden if you've just got a few pieces of paper and a pen or two or three, right? So so let's do this, guys. So what I wanted to do now is I'm gonna walk you through what I call basically, sorry, I will. This is one of our what we call our 6 core pillars of a world-class financial planning business. And basically the 6 core pillars, in my opinion, and to me, the natural flow of a world-class business, you've got to get good at 6 core pillars. And it's almost like you can have 1 or 2 or 3 or even 4 of the pillars right, but it's kind of like having 2 legs on a 3-legged stool, right? You can hold the stool up for a little while and you can kind of balance yourself, and it'll be okay for a while. But if you haven't got all 3 legs on a 3-legged stool, eventually something's going to give, and you're going to fall over, or you're going to lose your balance, right? So it's the same as these 6 core pillars. I reckon you need each one of these pillars sorted, done, and implemented properly into your business. And I think this is kind of the natural flow of things as well. So we start with your business model. We want to work and make sure that you know exactly what your business model is, how you're going to be working, what you're going to be delivering, what your signature system or your signature process is. So you've got to get your business model right at the start. Once you've got the model right, then you can think about attraction, authority, positioning, where are you going to find your clients, your prospects, what are you going to offer them, how are you going to get them to interact with you, how are you going to build relationships, how are you going to position yourself in your marketplace. So that's the attraction pillar. The third pillar, once you've engaged a prospect, you've got to turn a prospect into a client. So you've got to convert. You have to engage that client and get the client onto one of your one of your fee for advice programs or your ongoing care and maintenance program as well. So we've got to convert. We've got to turn a prospect into a client. Number 4 is delivery, and that's the module we're talking about today. We're talking about delivery. Once you've got the client, a new client in the front end, we've got to deliver. We've got to do the work, and we've got to do it really, really well. The quality has to be there, the compliance has to be there, but you've also got to run you're running a commercial business. You've got to get the delivery right in your business so it remains profitable. Otherwise, you're going to do all this hard work and you're going to be bringing new people in the top end of the funnel, and you're going to be losing them out the bottom end, and that's just not a way to run a world-class financial planning business. Once you've got that done, you can then confidently go out and really build the referral pillar of your business. And the referral pillar is broken into basically two prongs. It's your client referrals, so the gold mine that you've got in your existing client base, but you've also got your strategic alliance partners or your referral partners out here. So there's 2 different prongs that you've got to have 2 different systems for to make sure that you've got a flow of referrals and you become a referral magnet. And then once you've got that done, then you can think about leverage, you can think about scale, and you can think about getting yourself out there and authority positioning and having prospects come to you rather than you having to push out to them. And you can deliver your marketing, and you can do it at scale. Okay, so 6 core pillars of a world-class financial planning business. So on a scale of 1 to 10, have a think for yourself. Where do you rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 in each one of those 6 core pillars? I think you'll find that most things inside of most segments inside of financial planning business are going to fall within one of those 6 core pillars. They're the basic fundamentals or the basic foundations of a world-class business. Once you've got that right, then underneath that is what we call, there's three activators that we work on for each one of these areas. Okay, so this is the core pillar, but what are the accelerators? What are the activators that are going to get these things? What are the actual things that you need to do to get these things done? So there's three of these underneath each one of the core pillars. Today we're talking about the delivery model, which is module, which is, like I said, it works around the three activators are mapping your processes, designing your on-ramps, and also empowering your team. And today's session, we're going to be thinking a little bit more about the sort of the mapping your processes part of this as well. So I'm thinking about the back end, the systems, the processes, how things flow through your business, and making sure you've got a really strong, systemized and process-driven business that you can be really, really proud of. It just works, and oftentimes just works without you even needing to be there as well. So that's kind of the framework of where we're heading today. Okay. All right, so guys, what I want to do is I want to show you what I call, again, I'm going to show you the how now, okay? And the how part of this is basically we need to do less of the non-productive, the non-income producing, the non-leverage sort of work, and we want to do more of the high-end, the chargeable, the sort of the specialist, the professional work. And we want to be a little bit more above the business than sort of working on the inside of it or on the back end side of it, right? You with me? Does that make sense to you? So how I'll do this today, I want to share with you three keys, three hot principles for getting a lot better at this than you currently are. Even if you feel like you're at a good level, there's going to be a few things today that you're going to say, I could do that. I can implement that in my business. That's something that I've been thinking about and never maybe thought of it in that perspective. So I really want you to pay attention no matter what level of financial planning business you've got. It's amazing what happens is if you feel like you're doing it well, you can fix things even faster as well because you've got that sort of momentum, you've got that little bit of scale, okay? And I know some of you are saying, look, Steve, I work by myself, I can't do this, I haven't got anyone to help me with this, and that sort of thing. I'm a kind of one-man band, and you know what? I want you to get that I get that, right? But we've got to start the process somewhere. We've got to get the ball rolling somewhere, and maybe today is going to be the place where you get your that ball rolling as well. Okay, so if you're going to take notes, now is the exact time. Now is the perfect time for you to start taking a few notes. Okay. Make sure you got a pen and paper with you because these notes are really important. And if you haven't got the notes or haven't got the worksheets, just type in the word worksheets and we'll shoot those out to you straight away. I think there could be a link. I think my webinar wingman, JD, has told me that she's posted the link to download the worksheet so that you can rock and roll with us straight away. Okay, right. Let's do this. 3 keys to become Teflon in your financial planning business. And the first thing I want you to do, the first key here is that you've got to picture excellence, right? I want you to have a think about what excellence would be for you if we're talking about a process and a delivery point of view. So ideally, crew, what does it look like if it's done exactly the way you want it to be done, right? If there was no restrictions, if you knew you couldn't fail, if sort of money or time wasn't an obstacle for you in any way, shape or form, what would the process be? And also what would all the touch points be if you could build a world-class experience for your clients, okay? And again, what would the touch points be? You need to be really clear about what you want it to look like so that you can then capture that and turn those sort of those concepts or that concept into a reality, and you can share it with other people in your business as well, right? But the starting point for you is to firstly to know for yourself, what does perfection look like? If I could build an ideal process or onboarding process, what would it be ideally? And you need to capture that for yourself. I had a coach tell me that there was he told me a story about there was a guy and he was training preachers, right? He was training junior priests for a church environment, right? And this guy was obviously one of the senior priests or something like that, and he was teaching these up and coming priests to be priests, right? But he said something really interesting. He said you've got to be really clear on your points when you're doing a sermon, because if it's a mist from the pulpit, it'll be a fog in the pews, right? If it's a mist in the pulpit, right? If it's foggy for you, if it's misty for you and not quite clear, it's going to be a fog in the pews and people just won't understand it. People won't get it. Does that make sense? So what you need to do is you need to take some time and map out your steps and exactly what you want to happen in your business so that you can take that map and then implement it, implement the touch points and all the systems and all the automation and whatever needs to happen from those things into your actual business. Let me give you an example. This is a couple of real life examples. Number one. So what happened was, I ran a large financial planning and accounting firm. We had at our biggest point we had around 27 odd staff. It was a pretty big operation at one stage. There we had a mortgage brokerage in house and things like that as well. But since I've been in Coaching Club or in Blackwing Profit, I've had virtually 100% of my teammates or the people who are working for me over based in the Philippines. What they call virtual assistants, as everyone knows. More than virtual assistants for me, they're a bigger part of that for us in our business. But most people know the term virtual assistants. So what we did, so you can see a picture on the screen. Myself and my wife Robin and JD and we had Iggy with us, who's not in that photo. We got together. We flew to the Philippines and spent 2 or 3 days together, getting to know each other well, and sharing some dinners and having some laughs and getting to know each other, learning a little bit about the cultural side of things as well. But what we also did was spend a whole heap of time thinking through and mapping out all of our systems and processes and all of the touch points that we wanted to happen inside our business. So we actually flew over to the Philippines, which was absolutely magnificent at the Pearl Farm there. JD, you'll remember that those few days. Luxury resort, and just had a few days of chill time, but we also had a few days of work time as well. And what we basically did is work together as a group, as a team, and mapped out exactly what we wanted our systems and processes to be. Now, this is several years ago. My hairs are probably a little bit darker there, as you can tell, which I've just noticed as well. It was a few years ago, but these are the same systems and processes that we've tweaked and honed and refined, but we actually sat together and worked them out as a group, right? Stepped out, sticky notes in hand, Sharpie markers in hand, and just walked through our systems and processes. And then we got up on a whiteboard and said, right, okay, step 1, touch point 2, touch point 3, touch point 4. And it all started with Sharpie markers, sticky notes, coloured paper and coloured textures and stuff like that. And we worked out and we mapped out what would be excellence for our business, right? And we did that as an exercise, and it just went absolutely. And then what we did, so we had our systems, and then we had, okay, what are all the touch points that came out from that as well? So just as an example, this is the sort of thing we did. I did it on my own. I had an idea first, but I also got my team involved so that everyone was part and took ownership in the process as well. We had a couple of days here in Perth. We do a couple of day workshops twice a year in Sydney and in Perth. And we've actually got our clients to do this as well. So we basically, same sort of thing, sticky notes. Step 1, so this one here is like, what happens on day 1? What happens on day 3? What happens on day 5? What happens on day 8? What happens on day 10? What happens on day 12? All the way through, who does what. So in this example here, different color sticky notes meant different team members. And we kind of just mapped out exactly what the systems and what the processes is and all the step-by-step onboarding part of it. Mapped out we looked at all the days and the timings and when all the public holidays were and all that sort of thing. And we've done this with our clients as well. I get my clients to step back and physically look at what are the processes and the systems and the touch points that we want to work on, and what that we want to have in our system, and actually map out what would be the ideal scenario for each individual person. So I've got a broad framework of what I think is a great experience, but each and every business is different, right? So it's just really fun watching people up on walls and up on glass windows and sticky notes and Sharpie markers, and actually stepping back and taking the time to work on their business as opposed to being stuck in the business all the time as well, right? So just to give you an example, this is what we call the client experience timeline. And it's just a really good, so it's a big long sheet of paper, and it's a timeline, and we just go through, and it's got places for sticky boxes in there, and basically we also think about, the other thing to think about here is with each and every one of our touch points, what do we want people to think, what do we want people to feel, and what do we want people to do. So for each one of the touch points and each one of the steps, what do we want people to think, what do we want them to feel, and what do we want them to do? And it's a really important part. But the first part, and before you can get it into the system and get it automated and set your templates and all of those things up, you need to get it right in your head, and this is a really good way to do that. So guys, if you want a copy of this, I'm happy to share a copy. This is a client experience timeline. I'm happy to shoot one out to you, no worries at all. It's a great exercise if you're thinking of doing an offsite or a team building day or something like that. This is a really great exercise, a great group exercise, and you can kind of break it up into initial engagement, conversion, advice preparation, advice delivery, and you can actually break it up, and you can break your little teams or your little groups up and get them to work on this part of it and them to work on this part of it, and you work on the sort of the front end, the engagement and the conversion part of it, and it's a great exercise for you to do. So if you'd like a copy, guys, just I don't know, type in the word client experience. Just type in the word client experience into the chat box, and I'll be happy to share this with you as well. It's got some little instructions on the left hand side, what we want them to do and stuff like that. So all I want you to know, all I want you to sort of get from this is that you need to step back and have a look at these things. Now the reality is, team, that this stuff just doesn't happen, and it just doesn't happen in the frantic day-to-day of your business or of your life. It doesn't happen when you're in the zone and you're thinking about clients, or you're thinking about strategy, or you're thinking about technical stuff. It doesn't happen when in the busyness of your day-to-day world, right? And when you're working, you just haven't got the capacity to be able to stop and do this. So you need to stop and. The reality is that the greatest breakthroughs come from the pause after a great question. And that's kind of where coaching comes into as well, because you can sort of go on and think you're doing the right thing, or you can be kind of like a little bit of a bull at a gate. But sometimes it's good for your coach or someone, a mentor or someone in the business, to sort of stop you and say, hey, is that the right step? Is that the right thing we should be doing there? Why are we doing that? Do we need that step there? Have we missed a step here? So you want to be questioned about this a little bit, and that's why it's a great idea to do it with your team as well, right? So coaching comes in because you can, you're just too busy to stop and ask yourself the right question a lot of the time. And I know that for a fact. We're all just too busy. Okay. So the first thing I want you to do basically is I want you to picture perfection. You've got to figure out a way that you can get what you actually want it to be on paper, so that you can then implement it like that. Number one. Number two, the second thing I want you to do, and that I coach my clients on, is that I want you to kick ass and be an absolutely amazing advisor while you're doing less, right? I want you to do less. Okay, so who knows? This is Kung Fu Panda, right? I'd love to know if anyone knows what this move is that Kung Fu Panda is doing. Okay, who knows what this move's called that he's doing right now? 5 points for anyone who can tell me what this move that the amazing, the incredible Kung Fu Panda is doing around. Please do me a favor, type into the chat box if you're cool enough to know what this move here that Kung Fu Panda is doing. If you can do it. Who knows the name of this move? Do you know it? Does anyone know it? Type it into the chat box for me if you do know it. The move itself is called the Wushu Finger Tap. Right, the Wushu Finger Tap, and it's Kung Fu Panda, right? And it's the Wushu Finger Tap, and Kung Fu Panda's got this little move, and what is said to be true is that the Kung Fu Panda can actually stare down his opponent, right? And he can raise his he can be in the heat of battle, and he can stare down and he can raise his little pinky finger in the air, and can do this little sort of wiggle thing, and right? I don't know exactly what's involved, but all I know is the next thing you see, the next thing that happens is devastation occurs, right? It's an absolute, looks like a bomb's hit the place. And all he's got to do is just move his little finger like that. You ask Kung Fu Panda about that and he'll tell you all about it, right? Apparently the hardest part about all of this is cleaning up afterwards, right? So that Kung Fu Panda analogy, that's the model I want for you. Right? All I want you to be doing is the pointy finger bit, right? The cool bit in terms of how much effort you put in, and let someone or something else do the rest of the stuff. I just want you to do the easy bit, the simple bit, right? That's our goal. And I think there's two models for productivity, guys. I think the first model, number one, I think is what's called the efficiency model. which is how can I get more done in each day? If you think about this, so we're either thinking about doing more or doing less. And the efficiency model is how do I get more done, right? And what do? You make a to-do list, and you get up each morning and you come up with this list, and it's full of sort of A and B and C type tasks, and you kind of get them all down and you put them on a list and you prioritize them in a certain order of all the things that you want to get done over the course of the day, and you kind of work on the A's first, right? And then you try and get to the B's, and then you've got these C's to sort of get done because that was your list for the day. That was your to-do list that you had to get done, right? And you kind of order them in 1, 2, 3, and order priority and all that sort of thing. And at the end of the day, you take a breath and you kind of look back over your shoulder and you have a look at your to-do list, and you usually don't get anywhere near the entire list done, right? You've been there, I've been there, we've all done this, right? And you haven't been anywhere near as productive as you wanted to be, or maybe you've done really well and you've ticked off a heap of jobs and you've got all this stuff done and you've been able to tick them off on your list, and isn't that great? And you feel really good about yourself, right? But and look, maybe that's productive, and maybe that's maybe that could be a good way to go for some people wanting to tick things off a list. But to me, frankly, it sounds like a pretty crappy way to spend the day, right? Like working on stuff and ticking off lists sounds like a really boring way and a high pressure way to have to spend your life and live your life, right? Don't you think? Don't you agree? So that's the efficiency model, right? So I think one side of it is the efficiency model. How do we get more things done? How do we be more efficient? That's one option. But I think there's a better way, and I think, and it's also the path that I went down. The other way is what's called the elimination model, right? The elimination model, as opposed to the efficiency model, the elimination model. And the elimination model is like, instead of trying to figure out how do I run faster or work harder or do more, it's like how do I do less? How can I do less? And you look at some of the greatest and the best financial planners, the people sort of up the top there, the people that you look up to, what you'll find is they're probably doing less. They're absolutely doing less, better quality work, right? So how do I only work on, the question is, how do I only work on the stuff that makes an actual difference? The stuff that's high-end financial planner work, and that a high-end financial planner should be working on. Every single financial planner, anyone watching this video or this training right now, everyone knows what they should be working on day to day, right? But hardly any of them actually do it, right? So, high value, high impact, highly chargeable activities that grow your business and develop relationships and generate income. That's what a financial planner should be doing, right? We all know it. We all know it intrinsically. We all know it intellectually, but not enough of us do it because we haven't set ourselves up to be able to do it, right? Tim Ferriss, the guy, he came up with the 4-hour work week, right? And he talked about what he said, one great quote. He said, what if the only operating system, the only angle that you could ever come from any task was the angle of how can I make this more simple, right? What if the only frame that we had was to decide what I could trim, right? And I want you to sort of think that way as well. Instead of taking on more things, we want to trim things. We want to trim the tree. So you're going to focus on how can we do less, not more. And that means we're going to say no to more things. We're going to work shorter. We're going to have projects and tasks that are shorter and have less involvement from you that you don't need to be involved in. You're going to empower other people around you to do it. There's going to be less for you to do at the end of a meeting. That's the big bottleneck, right? You see a client and there's this massive bottleneck or this roadblock that needs to happen at the end of every single meeting. So we're going to get rid of all that stuff. We're going to have someone else who's involved in getting that stuff out of your office and into the system for you, right? So it's just done. So it flows and you can move on to the next task or the next client. We're going to delegate better. We're going to delegate like a pro. And we're going to empower the people around you to take things away from you. In fact, what's going to happen, it's going to be actually part of their role. It's going to be part of their job description. And we're going to train each and every person that works with you as part of your business. Part of their duty is to remove things from you, right? That's going to be, they're going to be looking out for what is it that I can take off Steve or the planner, right? Right, so that's what we want to do. So every now and then I want you to, the way I think about it, every now and then I want you to declare bankruptcy and just kill some of the things that you're doing, or some of the ideas that you got, or some of the projects that you've got floating around in your head or on scrap pieces of paper. I want you to kill them off and just say to yourself, look, hey, look, this is never going to happen, or it's not going to happen anytime soon. I'm just going to, or I shouldn't be doing this thing. I'm going to eliminate it out of my life and I've got to get rid of it, right? So we're going to do less. And we're going to do less on purpose, okay? Really, really important that you get that and you understand it. You should be focused on those high-end income-producing core value duties in your business and have someone else do the rest. I want you to do less, right? We're going to attempt less and we're actually going to finish more. And, that's a pretty good outcome, I would have thought. One of the ways that you can do that, crew, is I might just jump on my iPad here. iPad. One of the ways that you can do that, what I did forget to show you guys, just going back to that picture excellence slide, and you'll see in your worksheets here, guys, just to give you an example of what, so you saw us working on a big long sheet of paper and sticky notes and scribbles with Sharpie markers and stuff like that. The end result of something like that, this is what we call a process map, right? So that's the end result. And if you have a look at that, if you have a look on the left-hand side, so it's at the top. Who's involved? So this part here is first contact to first handshake to client engagement. That's sort of that engagement meeting that you have with your client, right? So this is the second sort of part of the process. Remember I said you could break it up into different sections or different segments of your onboarding, right? This is the new client engagement. Who's involved? The financial planner. The client's involved in some steps. In the red there, what is the flow of the meeting? Why are we doing this step in our meeting? What's the value and the intent of that? And what is the process? And we've got for each one of these steps, there's a little process underneath for each one. All that started with was that long sheet of paper and a few colored sticky notes and some Sharpie markers, and then we turned it into something tangible. Now, inside the Blackwing Vault, we've got first contact to first handshake, which is this one here, to client engagement, client engagement to strategy preparation to strategy presentation to strategy implementation, right? So we've got 5, I think there's 6 actually, forgot the other one. What's the other one? The 6 different flows, right? And each one of these, here's the steps involved, here are the touch points involved, here's who's involved. This is what we're trying to achieve. What's the value of the intent of it? What is the actual process behind each one? Where you can see those blue things there, on the PDF version of it, you can actually click on one of those blue things. Each one of those blue things is an actual template. So you can click on the template and it takes you straight into the vault, and it gives you the actual template there as well. All right, so that's going back to the previous slide around picturing perfection. One of the ways that you can think of to do less is to do this little exercise here. So I call it the love-hate relationship reckoner. And it's just a simple exercise where you spend 5 to 8 to 10 sort of minutes writing down a list of what are the things that you hate in your business, the things that you don't enjoy doing, the things that you know that you shouldn't be doing, the things that you just don't enjoy. They're tedious, they're time consuming, not enjoyable, frustrating. You just write a list of all the things that you don't really want to be doing, or you shouldn't be doing, or you've just been doing because it's a habit, or people are just used to bringing it to you, and all those things. You write yourself a bit of a list of a little bit of a list of what are the things in my business that I don't really want to be doing, right? And you build a list. And then on the flip side of that, there is some things that you enjoy doing. There's some reasons why you became a financial advisor. There's some things that that are income producing, client facing, business growth, relationship building, strategic planning. There's a bit of compliance needs to be thrown in there as well, because you've got to do it and all that sort of thing. But there's some things that you really enjoy doing in your business as well. And I want you to come up with sort of half a dozen to sort of 10 things that you really, really enjoy. So that's number 1. Number 2, the way to do less, this is the starting point, right? The starting point right now is, okay, let's think about this list here and say, right, what could I eliminate? out of my life? What are 3 things that I could eliminate out of my world and either get it automated or get it outsourced or delegate it to another team member, completely remove it because it's a waste of time and it was just a not required step? How can I streamline it or consolidate it into another step? How can I remove the bottleneck around that? You know, what 1 or 2 things? So you start with, here are the things that I don't like, and here are the things that I don't like doing. Here are the things that I do like doing. Let's keep the things that I do like doing and start figuring out how I can get rid of the things that I don't like doing, right? Really simple, easy exercise as a starting point to helping you to kind of to do less, right? So that's what we want to focus on. How can you do less? So crew, here's the thing. So what's one thing? I've got a question for you. What's one thing that you could stop doing today? Now, we've all got something that we could stop doing today. And I just want you to think right now, I just want you to pause, even while I'm going to keep going, but I just want you to pause and say, right, what's something that I could stop doing today? One thing and one thing only, and figure out how you can get rid of that thing out of your life. Once you've done that, you're gonna give yourself a high five. You're gonna fist pump. You're gonna feel good about yourself. Give yourself a bit of a pat on the back. Tell yourself what a good job you did in getting rid of that or eliminating that thing from your world. And then you're gonna say, right, what's the next thing on the list? And we're going to get rid of that out of your life as well. And you're going to say, well done, awesome, high five, great work. That's one less thing I've got to do. And that frees up a little bit more time that I can do the things that I should be doing. And then you're going to look back at that list and you're going to say, right, what can I do next? And what can I do next? And what can I do next? In fact, the faster way to do that, if you've got a team, you're going to get your team involved and say, right, out of these tasks here these are the things we agree that I should be doing. These are the things that we agree that I really shouldn't be doing. Right, how can we start to get rid of those? And you can kind of fast track it and get your team involved as well, right? So that's the first job is, what's one thing that you could be doing? Third thing here, the third principle I want to show you, this one here, it's really, really basic. It's really simple. It's kind of obvious. And, we've been sort of talking about it already as well. And that's, I want you to play to your strengths. We've figured out what you should be doing, or you shouldn't be doing. We've figured out what you should be doing, and I want you to therefore play to your strengths. And we're going to play to those things that you know that you should be doing. In your business, I reckon there's about 90% of the things that need to get done that just totally aren't you, right? We don't need to be doing those things. Just want to make sure I can see you dudes. There you go. There's 90% of things that just aren't you. You shouldn't be doing. But just for whatever reason, you're still doing them. They still get landed on your desk. You're getting stuck with them, just like you normally have, right? And I reckon there's about 10% of the things that only you can do, and that you should actually be doing, right? There's only about 10% of the actual things when you step back and have a look at what you're doing. But everything else, right? That sort of 90%, everything else, you just want to get it off your plate, and we want to get it onto someone else's plate as quickly, or something else's plate, right? Doesn't have to be a person, right? It can be software or technology or whatever it happens to be, right? So we want to figure out what you should be doing and what you shouldn't be doing, and set about a process of playing to your strengths, the things that you should be doing. And again, I'm just going to jump back into my iPad. There, and there's a little exercise here down here. It's called the Genius. It's called the Genius model. You might have heard me talking about the Genius model, talking about the Genius exercise, right? And it's a Dan Sullivan brainchild, and he talks about there's 4 different levels there, right? And number 1 down the bottom here, he talks about incompetence, right? So I've got it in there. The stuff that you're hopeless at, the stuff that you're slow at, the stuff that it's tedious. It's things that you don't enjoy. You usually mess it up. You don't get any satisfaction from these things whatsoever. It's a real chore or a real burden for you to do in your business. There's a whole list of things that you know about, and everyone on this call kind of knows what I'm talking about here. There's things that you're kind of incompetent at, right? The next level is what we call competence. So if those things are the incompetence, this is what's called, this is your competent. You're okay at it. you know how to do it. You know, it's stuff that you've learned over time because you've needed to learn it. You know, but and you're just doing it now out of habit. Like I said, you can't be bothered asking anyone else or taking the time to show someone else to do it. So it's still on your list, and you feel like you just can't palm it off, or you just haven't been able to palm it off. So you're kind of stuck doing it yourself. You know, and this is usually the stuff that causes the most stress, because you're just doing it for doing its sake. It's not you're not useless at it. You're okay. You're actually pretty good at this thing, and you should have delegated this away to someone else, and someone else should be doing this. Or people come and ask you this same question over and over again, right? And that's the really frustrating part. Okay, like I said, you could delegate it, but you just keep saying it's quicker to do it yourself. So you just do it, right? And you think it's just you think things are easier and quicker to do it yourself, but the reality is, obviously, the problem with that is that it's now on your plate. You're the one that's got to do it now, and it's really, it's clogging you up, and it's clogging up the system as well. Then what he does, he talks about excellence, right? Now he talks about excellence, and excellence is the stuff that you're great at, right? It's the higher end stuff that you do. Maybe you don't love doing these things as much, right? But but you've got a certain level of excellence at it, so you do it. Sort of people comment about it when you do it. You can definitely do it better and better quality, and maybe usually faster than someone else. People notice it when you do your excellence. You've got a bit of a reputation around it. Usually within the reputation is not really out there. It's normally within your business. So you've got that bit of a reputation that you're really good at your excellence tasks. It's part of who you are. But it's kind of not really what drives you either, right? But the one that I want you to focus on, and what all quality high-end financial planners should be focused on, is the genius, right? There's your genius. And genius is the zone that I want you, as a high-end professional financial advisor, I want you to be working in your genius, okay? When you're in your genius, everything just sort of flows. Right? It comes naturally to you. You get excited about working on that thing. You're on your way to work, and you know that you've got 3 or 4 quality appointments today, or you've got a meeting with a referral alliance partner, or you're making a marketing video today, or an authority positioning video, or something like that. You get excited about what you've got. What you've got on the calendar today, because it's part of your genius activities, and you've got your calendar is full of what you would class as genius activities. It's you know that these genius activities are the things that actually make the business money. These things give you meaning, and they also give you impact. So that the mantra of Coaching Club is money, meaning, and impact, right? And when you're in your genius, the genius gives you money, meaning, and it gives you an impact on not only on yourself, but on your clients and on your team, but in the whole community as well, because you're working in your genius. I'd say genius tasks are what got you into financial planning in the first place as well, right? You don't have to think about them; you just do them. They just come naturally to you. It's the high end, highly qualified, highly skilled financial planner work. It's what you're best at, when you're in your genius, you're kind of in your rhythm. There's a flow, right? There's a cadence to what you're doing when you're in your genius. Everything is good. The world is good when your business is good, right? When you are working in your genius, and you get the results that you want for everyone involved, not just for you, but it's also for your team and for the business and for your shareholders, if you've got shareholders, and also for your clients as well. So you are uniquely awesome when you are working in your genius. A couple or 3 hours a day of you spent in your genius is better than an entire month of you being in your excellence or your competence, and certainly in your incompetence as well, right? So the exercise that you want to do here is we want to figure out, we want to categorize these 4 lists, right? And we want to write a list of, what are the things that are in your incompetence, what are the things that are in your competence, what are the things that are in your excellence, and what are the things that are your genius. So you're gonna have a whole heap of things in here, and I want this incompetence list to be big. Like, incompetence doesn't just mean that you're not very good at it, but it's just things that you should never be touching. It's why the hell am I making a cup of coffee? Why am I opening the mail? Why am I filling up the water bottle? Why am I changing the water bottle in the why am I going to the freaking why am I going to the post box? Why am I going to the post box? Someone else should be doing that. I should be on the phone to a client, right? Or I should be working on a strategy or something like that. So you just want to be thinking about what are the things that you would place at the bottom of your wanting to be involved with list, or the things that you just screw up, like me. If you want an appointment with me, don't reach out to me because I screw up the calendar every time. So what's happening? We've got it packed here. I'm not allowed to touch the calendar. I can't touch it because every time I touch it, I screw it up. So I'm out of that. So that's eliminated from my life. You either talk to JD or you go online and you book in an appointment yourself. And I just don't do that anymore, right? That's an incompetence thing for me. Then you're going to think about, okay, what are the things that you're okay at? Pretty good at, but not really what you want to be focused on. Then you're going to have a look at your excellence. And there's going to be some things in here, right? There's going to be a heap of things in here, right? But then what I really want you to focus on is what is your excellence? And we're going to think about 1, 2, 3, what you're going to write them in. What's your excellence here? What is your excellence, right? And you should have, I think there's 10 boxes there, right? I don't want you to have any more than 10 boxes. Now, what may happen is that you might say, okay, these are my excellence activities, but there's some things here in my excellence that I kind of can't get rid of either. I've got to keep doing that, and that's fine. What you're going to do is you're going to figure out, okay, the first thing to get rid of is the stuff in the incompetence. That's the stuff that we're going to eliminate out of your world. And then the next level is in the competence, right? That's the next level of what we're going to get rid of, and we're going to eliminate that from your world. And then all you're going to be left with is the things that are in your genius, and you're going to have a few things in your excellence, like the things like compliance. That's an excellence. You've got to be good at compliance, but it's not really what drives you, but you've got to be good at it. And kind of a lot of the times, someone else can't do that for you. You have to do that. So there's going to be things so as long as we've got a certain number of high-end financial planner activities at the top in the genius, and we've got maybe a few things left in the excellence, that's a pretty good sort of model or a pretty good world to live in as far as I can see, okay? And when you've done this and you do it right, what happens is you're able to decide what to stick to and what should sort of flow down the chain and get rid of and go out the sort of the back end. The part of it's a passion thing, and part of it is a money thing as well. And if you wanted to hire someone to if you want to do some graphic design on your website or a brochure or a lead magnet, or or make certain phone calls in your business, or follow up on data entry, or type up some recorded file notes or things like that. If you're doing any of these things, like if you're, for me it was booking appointments and stuff like that. You could go out and just get someone to do those things, right? You don't need to do those. What you should be doing. You could either outsource those things, or you could put someone in charge of the project of getting those things done, right? And you can get that person to get it 80% of the way done, and then they can come back to you with when they're about 20% from completed, so that you've got a little bit of quality control and you can make sure that the standards are there, right? But those things are low-end activity. But you sitting in front of a client, up on a whiteboard, designing strategy, building relationships with quality people, people who are important to your business and potentially can help you grow your business, or great quality clients, or even creating those alliance partnerships, or designing or engineering your business, or working on your skills and your sort of your knowledge and things like that. Well, those parts of the business, they're priceless. And that's your genius and somewhat of a little bit of your excellence as well, okay? So that's where I want you to be spending at least 80% of your day. Now, you can't completely reduce or eliminate everything out of your business like that. That's kind of impossible. But what I do want you to do is I want you to play to your strengths and figure out what you should be focused on and what you shouldn't be focused on. And then you can say, right, set about the process of what do we do with these things that are in my incompetence and incompetence and competence, okay? All right, team, you get it? I think that's pretty much good for today. Look, at the end of the day, guys, this Teflon Advantage thing, it's really, really important in your business. It's a concept that you can apply to all areas of your business. I want you to kind of think about it every single time that you pick something up, or you look at something, or you open your email, or you get something on your project, on your CRM, on your project management system, right? Should I be doing this? Is this a repeatable task or a replicatable task? Is this in my genius, or is it at least in my kind of excellence? You've got a bit of a frame of reference that you can say, where is this in that scale? Is it one? Is it level 4, 3, 2, or 1? You can sort of the project for you is to put these things into your categories, know where things fall into each one of those categories. And it's a really great framework for you to build your backstage and have everything smooth and flow, right? These are all these little 1%ers that are going to set you apart and free up your time, and they're going to increase your energy. They're going to reduce your stress levels, and they're going to reduce your frustration. And it's just going to help you make a better version of yourself, of you, right? A better version of you for yourself and for your clients, and really importantly for your family as well. Okay. So these are the same things that I did in my financial planning business, and I highly recommend that you do these things as well. Life just gets easier when you make it easier for yourself. That's all I'm saying. All right. So team, I reckon that's pretty much. I think that's good to go for today. Let's just get me back on so I can see your crew. So guys, I reckon that's good for today. Let's call this session done and dusted. Like I said, if you want to know a little bit more about how we can help you with that, okay, hang on, I'll go back to that other screen, which I shouldn't have jumped out of. Guys, if you want to chat about this, dude, it's really easy. Hook me up wherever you are. So wherever you're watching this, hook me up on LinkedIn, hook me up on Facebook if you like. Just private chat me. You could if you're watching this on my website, there's a little questionnaire on the right hand side there. A little questionnaire. Tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about where you're at, what you need most help with, and we'll sort of reach out to you and touch base, and we can go from there. So thanks so much, crew. I hope this has been helpful. I hope you've taken notes. If you want to get access to either the worksheets or to the client experience planner as well, if you'd like a copy of those, just type that in, and I'll be happy to shoot that out for you as well. Okay, crew, take good care. Have a great rest of your Thursday, and I'll talk to you real soon. Take good care. Bye for now.